listening to Fishing the DMV with your hosts, Thomas Ahrens and Jared Mounts. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Hello, everyone. I know my hair looks like absolute shit. So, equipment. Let's get an equipment test here. How do I sound, everyone? Do I sound terrible? Can you hear me at all for the one or two people that are actually watching this thing? We might not have anyone that would be listening, and I'm just going to be talking to myself like a complete crazy person. But I do live in Hagerstown, so that's pretty much the norm. Actually, when I was at Walmart this morning, doing a little bit of grocery shopping, I saw two people on the side, actually two separate sides of Walmart, because I walked across it. And one person was staring at the side of the building about 6 inches away and just laughing, just hysterically. And I was thinking to myself, I really wish I was like that. I really do. I wish I was that happy all the time. It'd definitely make my life so much easier. All right. Yeah, we got one person that's hearing me while I ramble about a homeless man that I started talking to. Yes, I ended up talking to him, not the person that was staring at the side of the building, apparently cracking himself up with whatever joke. It was the other person that was sitting down, and I made the mistake of making eye contact, and I couldn't stop talking to him. I don't know why I'm rambling on about the homeless people I was talking to at Walmart, but I thought I had a really interesting way to start off this whole segment today. But let me finish my homeless person story. So he asked me if I saw anything strange out recently, and I said, no, sir, no. And then asked me if he could have a pair of socks, which really emotionally broke me, because if you ever run into a homeless person and they start talking to you, 90% of the time you're thinking they're asking for money. This individual did not. He, I think, is a pro at this, because he disarmed me with saying something so off the wall that it made me stop to make sure I heard him correctly. And that was, do you have any spare socks that I could use? And it was socks. Because I said, excuse me, what'd you say? He said, do you have a pair of socks I could borrow? And that was the fun part about that experience this morning, was he didn't just want me to give him socks. It was the key wording there of borrow. Like to lend. He wanted me to lend him some socks so we could possibly go through this exchange in the future. Maybe weekly. He just gives them back to me for me to clean them. I was going through all this in my mind while having this interaction with this homeless person. Was how does he want to do this transaction? Anyway, this kind of gets you to understand my whole mind that I do have ADHD. And that gets back down to basically doing this neat little segment called Last Minute Live, where we're just going to be talking about some topics that I wanted to kind of get into in a video. And then I really didn't have the ambition to make a video this week. So I thought, let's just do a live stream, talk to maybe 3 people, and kind of go over one of the topics I wanted to talk about today. So that's kind of where we are here. Fishing the DMV, we talk about everything. Fishing, homeless people, the whole shebang. So how's everyone doing today while I kind of get set up here? We doing good? We ready for this? All right. Let me get it real quick. Hold on one second, folks. All the momentum. There we go. Sorry. Work. Believe it or not, I don't get paid to do this. I know. It's an absolute shame. So anyway, what are we talking about tonight? We are talking about homeless people, which if you didn't catch on that, please don't ask me to tell that story again. It was very an emotionally jarring situation this morning. And we're talking about springtime lipless crankbait fishing. And honestly, if you guys have questions, anything else is fine too. This is brought to you by me and lack of ADHD medication. That's the sponsor of this episode. Oh, and Jake's Bait and Tackle. Whoops, sorry, dyslexic too. I guess I should point this way up to their logo. So Jake's Bait and Tackle sponsoring this, minus the fact that I'm out of my ADHD medication. So first thing we're going to be getting into today is these bad boys right here, Lipless Baits. Let me see if I can actually bring one up and not look freaking stupid with it. There we go. See, cut this one off right here. Lipless Baits. Specifically throwing them in the springtime. What's up, Mike? How you doing, bud? So I just lost my train of thought there. Pull these hooks out right there. Kind of get some of my favorites here. Sweet. So, all right, let's get into this bad boy. All right, so Lipless Baits. There is no bait I trust more in the springtime when it comes to fishing in grass in the springtime than a lipless bait. This is where I've made most of my money when I was blessed and fortunate enough to actually cash a check. And this is also one of the baits that I've used in college when we fish grass lakes in the springtime to either find the fish or catch key ones. And we're going to be getting to that in a minute. So why a lipless over this boy right here, the Chatterbait? And let me know in the comment section below, would you rather throw a lipless bait or a Chatterbait in grass in the springtime? Let me know your confidence lure, because I might be able to change your mind. When the Chatterbait came on the scene and Brian Thrift and Height were kicking butts, taking names, the Chatterbait became the de facto grass fishing bait, and especially like the jackhammer. It's a fantastic bait. It is, I think, synonymous with fishing grass, with Florida, the Harris Chain, St. John's, blah, blah, blah. You guys get it, the Potomac River. I think every single person and their brother have one of these tied on in the spring. And don't get me wrong, it's a really good bait. But I think I'm going to be able to convince you that a lipless should be one of your primary go-to lures in grass in the spring compared to the Chatterbait. And we're going to get into that here. Number one, the biggest reason that I think it's important is pressure. If you've ever been to the tidal Potomac, is a great example of that. In the springtime, from about now till late April, there are going to be about 6,000 boats in Mattawoman Creek, and all of them are going to have this sucker tied on. And I really think with the Chatterbait, fish do eventually get conditioned to it. How badly, though? Will you still catch fish? Absolutely. You're still going to catch fish with a Chatterbait. And I still have them tied on too. But I do think when you get pressure, let's say you're fishing on a Saturday, this is one of those baits that is the first one that fish are going to turn off to. They see them constantly. And even when I fish BFLs, ABAs, team tournaments, you could tell by the rod tip, everybody was throwing these things. And there's different variations that you can do to this bait. But for the most part, a Chatterbait, really the vibration and the profile can't be changed as much as one of these things. So first reason I'd say go with a lipless is because the Chatterbait right now absolutely gets abused. Like everyone throws them. Number two, treble hook versus single hook. If you're throwing a single hook bait, you have a higher probability of fish not committing to it and getting the hookups. Now, before everyone completely grills me in the comment section, hear me out. If a Chatterbait fish or a swim jig fish or whatever, if they grab that bait, you have a high probability of sticking them and getting them in the boat. They're not going to throw the hook. Those aren't the fish I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about the fish that swipe at it, that roll at it, that push it. Those fish during the spring, when you have constant cold fronts, constant fluctuation in water temperature, water clarity, water depth, the fish that are non-committal, everyone knows what I'm talking about when you're fishing a Chatterbait and one knocks the slack out of it but doesn't get it. Those fish pushed it. And that's the problem you run into when you have a single hook. When you're throwing a crankbait or a jerkbait or a lipless bait, when you're dealing with treble hooks, you kind of eliminate that problem. Fish that are non-committal in a neutral to negative feeding mood, the ones that end up pushing or slapping at it, those are the fish that you have a higher probability of hooking up with. Because I know I'm going to get grilled for this in the comment section. If they attack it, compare and contrast, if they completely inhale both baits, yeah, a single hook is 100% better. You're going to land more of those fish. But for those fish in those negative mood, the treble hook is what plays. That's why cold water cranking is so deadly. That's why jerkbait fishing is so deadly in the wintertime. Those fish that don't really inhale that bait, they're going to get stuck on that hook. So that's another reason I really like lipless this time of year. When you have those fish in that finicky mood and you're generating that core reaction strike, they don't necessarily have to eat it. One of my key fish when I won an ABA tournament back in the day, the fish pushed it and actually got the top of his head hooked. He missed the bait completely, and I actually got him the top of the head. Had I not had a treble hook bait, I do not land a 5.5 pounder. I do not win that event. And that was all because I was using a treble hook style bait. It was cold. The fish were in a very negative mood, and they were just reacting and pushing it out of the way. Next reason to go with a lipless bait is your ability to vary color and vibration. This is one reason we all love fishing jerk baits, right? You can change the cadence. You can change the ball bearings in them. You can change the vibration. You can change the color palette to initiate that core response. And the biggest difference, I think, between, let's say, a chatterbait and a lipless, though, is they come in all color palettes, right? But the difference is the vibration and the size profile. That, to me, is the big separating factor besides going with treble hook and single hook when it comes generating that core response. You can go with ones like this one here. This is a Booyah one knocker. It has that deep thudding sound. You can go with this Usuri that has mini beads. And hopefully you guys are picking that up. You can go with the Strike King. This is a 2-tap. And as you can tell, this has had the paint worn off of it. And hopefully you can hear this. I'll be quiet. And just, I have a bunch more out right now, but I was just trying to give you kind of a sampling of the different ones. All of them had a different sound. And that is, again, why I think a lipless is so deadly in this funky early spring grass time compared to a chatterbait, is the different vibrations you can put off in the water to initiate a core reaction strike, which is basically what you do with a jerk bait, but we're doing this with a lipless bait. So let's kind of break down my thought process. If you were going to fish a tournament, you're going to fish grass, what you'd go with. Let's start with color. Then we'll go to vibration, size, and then some tackle. Okay. And then I'll try to answer any questions that you guys have as well. So colors. First up, color-wise, crawfish. Duh. Gunnersville, Toledo Bend, Florida Lakes. Not as much in the Florida Lakes, but some. That crawfish color is absolutely deadly. You're going to have one of these on at all times. And then actually, that kind of ADHD moment here. If you're fishing lipless, and this is a key tip, everybody, if you are fishing lipless, just like with jerk baits, you're going to put a snap on, not a Snapple, that's a juice. You're going to put a snap on there, and you're going to have it 2 to 3 rods. I'll say that again. 2 to 3 rods for lipless, and a snap I suggest. Why? So you can quickly change. When I'm fishing jerk baits, I always have at least 3 jerkbait rods on the front of my boat, or I have a snap so I can quickly change. With these baits, it's all about solving the algorithm of size, color, sound. And if you play with that, you will key in one of the greatest spring bites of your life. So just with everything I'm saying, keep that in mind in the background that we're talking about having a couple of rods or at least a snap so you can quickly change it out. So back to color now. One of the rods you're going to have on is going to be with the orange. And this is a tidal water special, Potomac River. A bunch of different companies make it. Great color there. So that's number one. You're going to usually start with this color here. When the water is, I guess, a Potomac clean, if you could say that, an early Potomac clean. So a little bit of mud in the water, a little bit of stain. That's that one. Then this is an either or. When it's a little cloudy out or the water's a little bit cleaner, you're going to go with that bone white to a chrome sexy shad. Either or. I prefer, if I had to pick, I would prefer the sexy shad and the crayfish color. When that water has that stain to it, this is going to have the most flash and color. Now, if the water is super dirty, There it is, Fire Tiger. We're going to go with the Fire Tiger color right there. This one here, though, I only really like to bring out if I'm dealing with like dirt, mud type of water conditions. So this is the only wild card, but you really don't need this. If you want to get it, if your budget allows it, you can go with the Fire Tiger, but this is really for that super muddy water. So anyway, first two. Now, the water's getting a little bit clearer. The grass beds are starting to grow up a little bit higher. The water's cleaning out. If you're on the Potomac River, the tidal Potomac, when that low tide starts pulling and cleaning out that water, what I want you to go with is that golden chrome, like that. It's a perfect bait fish imitator, and it's really good. I don't know if the light can actually tell you right now, but it's good at reflecting light. It gives you the flash. And a lot of times, once that water clears up and you have good sunlight penetration, this here will draw fish from a lot farther away. Now, another color, and this is like a Florida special that my brother and I learned like when we fished high school tournaments down in Florida, is gold. And gold is fantastic in two conditions. One, if they're hitting shiners, golden shiners, no kidding, right? That works well. The other time is when you have stained water and it's overcast. Usually, when it's overcast, and it works, people go with a white. Gold is fantastic at picking up whatever light is in the water column. So if you have low light conditions, a slight stain, and you want a little bit more flash, instead of just going to a silver, try going to that gold chrome color. It puts off a fantastic hue in the water. And then in the episode description, I'll link all the colors down below. But that's pretty much what's going to get you started. And we'll go over it one more time before we switch to the next thing. Crayfish color. Sexy shad or a bone color. And when it's clear and the sun's out, a silver chrome color. And then if the sun disappears and the water has a little bit of stain to it, give that gold a try. Or if you're dealing with shiners, golden shiners, things of that, like a Harris chain. So now that we got the color out of the way, this is the part that people I don't think necessarily think about. Sound. Usually when you pick up a lipless bait, you usually are dealing with something like a rattle trap that has a lot of small beads in it. That puts out that very, I think, high-pitched clickety-clack sound. The high-pitched clickety-clack sound is fantastic, I think, when the fish are extremely active in the summertime, late spring, fall, when they're feeding down bait. I personally think that's when I go to this sound first. That very high-pitched rattling noise. When you are dealing with these fish, when the water's cold and there's fronts and they're shut down from pressure, I think that deeper noise that comes from a 1-ball bearing or a 2-ball bearing is the better way to start when you're trying to key in this bite. So a couple of good ones that you can go with for 2 balls, 2 tungsten balls that are in that is like the Booyah Hard Knocker lipless. And it's like this one here. The 2-tap, of course, by striking like here. And I'm just trying to let you hear this. Hopefully you guys can hear that. 2-tap. And then I have another one here. Hold on. And then this is a 6 cents right here. Isn't that really nice? And then here's just another striking with that nice deep thud. And what's interesting, and this is why I really go down this rabbit hole a lot, compare to contrast. These are 2 Strike King baits, 2 different year models. Listen to the difference. Hear that difference? And that's literally the same. That is literally the same bait. Both are supposed to be 2-tap, but one has a little bit deeper thud to it. And that's what you're listening to, is that deeper thud. So that is a 2-ball style lipless bait. The next style is called a 1-knocker. And there are a couple of manufacturers that go with them. If you guys want, Jake's Bait and Tackle has a bunch of these. Also, of course, Tackle Warehouse is a good place to go. But a 1-knocker. Now hear this one. You hear that deep thud, thud, thud? that deep thud, it brings out, I guess, it gives off a deep acoustic noise in the water column that fish, when they're pressured and the conditions are shite, they react to. So I generally start with a 2-knocker or a 2-ball lipless bait, and then I will go to a 1-knocker as the conditions, if I think the conditions are a little bit harder to get a bite on. There's either pressure from other anglers or there's pressure from a front. So keep that in mind. Move these out of the way here. And now the last category when it comes to sound is this one. Now, let me know in the comment section if you can guess the sound. Can you hear it? This is a silent lipless bait. Now, this one here is made by Strike King. They do not make this one anymore. You can get them on eBay. I found them. What you can also do is take an old bait, drill into the head, and fill it with foam. But there are a couple of companies that still make silent baits. Spro Oroku, Thunderhawk. I'm going to really butcher this name. It's another one I have in here. Nishing. Ningshang. It's a Japanese bait. It's a Japanese bait with a really hard name. I will link it in the episode description because I'm butchering this thing. Nishing. It's a silent lipless bait. Anyway, let me go back to the one that actually I can pronounce without getting myself completely kicked off YouTube. Silent. It sounds stupid. I know. Trust me. I thought it was stupid too until I was fishing a BFL in, I think it was Mattawoman Creek, and there was 6,000 boats around me. And I switched to a silent lipless bait, and it was one of the funnest days on the water ever. I didn't win. I didn't come, in the top 5, but I think me and my co-angler ended up catching, I think it was like 40 keepers that day, and wore the paint off of them. They're all about the same size, but it was so much fun. And that really was one of my favorite days in the water because the adjustment we made was going to silent baits. And that completely just flipped the script. Everyone around us was throwing worms, we're throwing some lipless baits, we're throwing chatterbaits. We went to a silent lipless and absolutely smoked them. So going back to kind of our strategy here with our color palette that we already talked about, start with a 2-ball, go to a 1-ball, like a Booyah 1-knocker or something like that. And then if you can still find them, you're going to go to a silent bait like this. And then again, guys, let me know in the comment section below what your favorite bait is to throw during the springtime. And also if there's any questions that you want me to answer while I'm on here. So now we kind of got to the end. We talked about why I think it's the most deadly bait compared to the chatterbait, the colors, and then we also talked about the vibration. And we got a couple more things I want to talk about with it. The next thing would be the size. When you talk lipless baits, let me pull one up here. Generally, people think a 1/2-ounce bait, just like this, stereotypical. We've seen the Bassmasters throw this a billion times, even heavier ones. Tactical Bassing has fantastic articles on basically using lipless baits as a jig or a blade bait, a little bit heavier one. Fantastic. I'm going to challenge you with something. The one that I've had the most success with, and the key to one of my systems, is a Finesse lipless bait. This size marks the size of the most forage that a lot of the bass see in our bodies of water. And going with that 1-knocker, 2-knocker in a smaller Finesse package, it gives you an ability that most people don't think about. Let me bring this back here. This is that 1/4 ounce little lipless bait. This is a chatterbait that generally everybody throws. See the difference in size? Isn't that crazy? So when you're dealing with highly pressured fish, going to this smaller bait like this, you're still power fishing. You still can cover water and you can catch monsters. One of my biggest bass in the Potomac came off of one this size. I think it was like 6.5 pounds off a bait just like this. But you can have that downsized package, which is important. Now let's talk about what I think everyone complains with lipless baits is losing them in the whole system, kind of marrying this thing together here. People lose fish on this, and I think it's because of the hooks. We can get into like the rods line. Everyone has their own preference with that, but I think the biggest thing is the hooks. You do not want round bends, I personally believe, for lipless baits. You know, everyone has success their own way. This is just how I've had success. What I like to go with are triple grip, KVD style, or any brand, name it. But you want that hook that actually concaves inward like that. Okay. The reason being, when those fish bite this thing, you decrease the probability of them coming off by at least 50% when you have that hook bent inward. Change the split rings up another size in case you catch a big one. But by just going out with those triple grips like that, you really limit the issue you have with losing fish. The other part that I suggest is you want to go one of two routes with your rod setup and your line setup. This is kind of important. You are either going to go to one end of the spectrum or the other. You want to either get an E-glass rod and 14, 15 pound fluorocarbon. So that way, when you set the hook on them, the rod will play the fish. Or you want to go to the other end of the spectrum and you're going to upsize all your tackle. So if you get a bite, you can haul on them. Why both ends of the spectrum? You lose fish on a lipless bait when they breach, when they go up. I don't care if it's these hooks, circle bends, I don't care who you are. As soon as a fish has this in his mouth and has all of this weight that he can work on, and he will throw it. That's when you're going to have the probability of that. So the two ways you can combat that once you've done your tackle duties correctly is to A, play them like a crankbait fish with a very spongy rod, keep their head down, let them work underneath the water column. Or B, you get as heavy of tackle as possible, and no matter the size, when you make contact, you winch them like you would on a heavy swim bait. Just ski them across the surface. Get their head up and do not let them ever jump. If they try to jump, just pull them across the surface as hard as possible. If you do one of those two ways, you really decrease the chances of them actually throwing the hook, in my opinion. So now let's go to my setup. I usually, and I'm crazy here, and I'm going to give away the goods. I don't know if I'm actually going to have this in my video or not. And you know what? Let me know in the comment section again, guys, if there's anything you want me to talk about. And also, what is your favorite bait to throw in the spring before I give up the goods here on live television? Spoilers. I don't really throw a lot of lipless baits on bait casters. Don't care the size. Don't care if it's half ounce, 5/8, 1/4. I don't. I think that limits their ability in one key area, and that's castability. What I like to use for my setup is I use a Lipless Daiwa saltwater reel. This is a saltwater spinning reel. It's massive. You know, I got pretty big hands and it covers it. I use a saltwater reel with 25-pound braid to 35-pound braid, depending. And I use a saltwater medium to medium heavy rod. Why? The one big thing that I feel like I have an advantage with is castability. I can outcast every human being on the planet if I put a lipless bait on spinning gear. And what that allows me to do is, when you're fishing grass and you're picturing a whole football field, just tons of grass everywhere, I can cover that whole football field in half the time, and I will get more bites because I can put more distance between me and the fish. So let's talk about the Potomac River as an example. You'll have 50 boats in a grass flat. When you have the ability to launch a bait 200 feet, you are putting that bait as far from you as possible. And that's going to that's going to maximize that chance of that fish actually hitting it. Number two is I can go a little bit lighter. I can throw this lighter lipless bait in the hydrilla and get maximum distance out of it without affecting the bait's performance. Now, I know people are going to also say that like you lose the winching power. I don't agree with that at all. If you ever have gone saltwater fishing, people use spinning reels if they're made correctly. They use spinning reels to winch up tuna, amberjack, shark, tarpon, you name it. They make spinning reels specifically to deal with big creatures. I think the issue is it's culture, that culturally we don't use spinning gear for certain baits, which is a shame. I've caught a 6.5 pounder using this. And because I had the gear correctly, once I hooked him, I just winched his butt all the way to the boat without a problem. And he skied. But you can't use a drop shot spinning rod or spinning reel setup for this. You need to go heavy duty to make this thing work. The other nice thing about having that spinning reel, is you're able, I believe, to hop the bait and let the bait slowly get down to the key spots and pop it a lot easier than you can with a bait caster. Now, I could see somebody's argument that you can do that with a bait caster compared to a spinning reel. Completely get that. The biggest reason I like using the spinning reel combo with lipless baits is castability. I'm maximizing that bait's ability to just be launched, and I can rip it. And so, yeah, spoiler, I use braid, generally speaking. Sometimes I will, maybe in the rare occasion, I will go with fluorocarbon and a bait caster setup. But most of the time, I'm using spinning gear, and that's because of the distance. I can just outcast everyone. And I really feel like if I'm using lipless, I'm probably around grass. If I'm probably around a grass bed, I'm around other people. And if all those things are correct, I think the distance I get between me and the bait is huge for having the probability of hooking up. So, that's kind of my, I don't know, that's kind of my lecture on lipless baits. Let me know if you think I'm stupid and it doesn't make any sense. Let me know if it does make sense. The biggest thing is just trying to separate yourself and using the different variables and connecting the pieces. Using a yellow with this vibration, using a yellow in this vibration with this size. You're matching the different variables until you get that core reaction strike. So yeah, I mean, does anybody have any questions before I kind of I switch gears? Gonna wait a second to see if I see anything here. No. Okay, so we got no questions. Nope, I got one text here. One text from a friend. Why don't you like the Chatterbait? No, so yeah. So again, guys, thank you for asking that, Mike. I do like the Chatterbait. It's not that I don't like the Chatterbait. I think the Chatterbait is one of the top baits made in the last 10 years. It's fantastic. When I go to ponds, when I go to places that aren't heavily pressured, the Chatterbait, and I'm dealing with grass, of course, the Chatterbait is one of the first baits I throw. The thing with the lipless, again, is the fact that I don't think it gets fished as much. And I think if I had to pick the two, I think fish get turned off the Chatterbait first before they get turned off the lipless. Because with the Chatterbait, I think there's less that I can do to change its vibration, size, color than with a lipless bait. It's a lot easier to change the vibration, the size, and the color with a lipless bait than a Chatterbait. That's it. So if I'm fishing Thursday and there's nobody around, yeah, 100%, I'm gonna have a Chatterbait tied on. I'm gonna be using it. If there's 600 people on a grass flat, I'm probably going to be throwing a lipless because, I mean, heck, not only do I think I can adjust this to make them to react, if those fish aren't in a biting mood, even if they flare at it, I'm going to get them. And that brings up a good point too. If I'm pre-fishing in a place I've never been before, just drop me on a grassy lake. I've never been there before in my life. And I have to figure out a grass mat. I'm not throwing this. I'm going to throw this. With this, and this setup here, I can cover the whole grass mat, the whole grass bed very quickly, and I can find biting fish. And with grass fishing, if people that aren't used to it, that's the most important thing. If I bomb cast this down the grass line and mark every time I get a bite, whether it's a 2-pounder, a 4-pounder, a 3-incher, it doesn't matter. I know where those fish are, because wherever they set up, that's pretty much where they set up. Those are the juice spots. And then I can kind of come back here with the chatterbait. But what's nice with throwing this finesse bait, and one of my key spots I found in the Potomac a couple of years ago, I was throwing this little guy like this, just going down the bank, and I caught 2 dinks. I just caught 2 dinks. It was like late afternoon. I caught 2 dinks in a little part of the grass. It was submerged vegetation, but I caught 2 dinks on this thing here. One was 10 inches. I think the other one was like 12 and a half. I caught them on this bait right here. I think it was a different color, but this bait right here, marked the spot. 2 days later, come back in the tournament, same area, boom, I catch 2 that put me at 10 pounds. Had I thrown a big clunky chatterbait or a big swim jig or swim bait, I might not have caught those fish. And so when you're dealing with grass, it's not just like a log where there's a particular log. You're dealing with a mass lawn. And for some reason, there are just weird places that they set up. And sometimes you can find it on your graph, but the best way to find it, whether you panoptics, minus, panoptics, is getting a bait that lets you cover water fast and it doesn't limit the size you get. If you have a bait that's big, you would think if I'm throwing an 8-inch Huddleston in a grass bed, okay, cool, I'm going to find where the big ones live, but they might not be set up there. They might not even want to eat that. If you throw this bait here and you catch a dink that's on the juice for some reason, you know where that juice is from now on. And so that's again why like a lipless bait is a fantastic search tool. Even if you're not going to use it as your tournament arsenal, if you have to pre-fish in a grassy area, this thing is going to let you cover water quickly and find those key areas. So, I hope that helped, guys. So, but I could be wrong. It's just, those are my thoughts on lipless baits and chatterbaits. Anyone else have any thoughts before I end here? Anything else you guys want me to talk about? Asking for the comment section here. Oh my goodness. But yeah. Favorite one, if I had to pick one. Oh my goodness. If I had to pick one. Probably a shoot. Honestly, I don't have the other color. Actually, I do. Yeah, right here. Probably a 1/4 ounce. A 1/4 ounce, not in this color, but maybe a gold color. Like that'd be good. So Travis, red colored lipless and chatterbaits. So red color for those. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, I can talk about that again. No problem. And again, this will be up also as the main video for this week too, because I was just too lazy to actually just make the video. I'd rather just do this. Red is a fantastic color. I suggest, depending on the water you're at, let's say, Travis, I'm going to say like you're on the Potomac River and you get that Potomac River springtime clear where it's like, it's got that little bit of chalkiness to it. Red is a fantastic color to start with. It really is. But when I fish lipless baits and I fish jerk baits, 2 things I want you to consider doing. One, I want you to have a quick tie split ring so you can fast attach different color. 2, I want you to have 2 rods rigged up. I don't care if it's a jerk bait or a lipless bait. You want multiple rods because that gives you the ability to change the color and the vibration and the size very quickly. And again, that's why I like this so much. Now, the chatterbait, Travis, to talk about that, it's harder to get a chatterbait to have the same flash and semi that a lipless does. Preferably, you want to go with a red chatterbait or a white sexy shad style chatterbait. That works great. And of course, the black and blue. I think those are the big 3 colors that you use for one up here compared to Florida, where you're going to go with a green pumpkin. But when it comes to lipless, you're going to start with a red. And if the water is still that same chalky color, you're going to go with that bone colored white. If it's a little bit clearer, you're going to go with sexy shad, that chrome. Now you see that reflection we can get there. If the water starts to clear up a little bit, we have the sun out. You're going to go with, if I can find it, Travis, this is really important. If you got dark water, and what I mean by that is that muddyish color, and the sun's not out, gold. Gold, for some reason, really reflects whatever light is down there. Now, and a lot of times, when I grew up, I was always under the impression that you always start with white when it's cloudy. White is fantastic, and I do like that. But sometimes the fish don't want a bait that's just tone deaf, and I think white is, because if you look at it, when I roll this thing, there's not a lot of reflection. When I roll this bait here, there's a lot more flash. So, kind of hope that helps. Let me pull up his question here. Chrome and black has been my highest producing lipless bait on lakes last summer. I fish Potomac too. Red works great too, especially starting next month. Haven't had many luck with gold. Yeah, yeah, Bastion, like gold honestly worked for me the best when everybody else, like a different flavor. That's basically it. Like when you're throwing jerk baits, it's the same thing. So if you're in a tournament situation, let's say you're in the back of Mattawoman and you're surrounded by 37 different boats, going to gold, that's when that gold is really going to really work well. Now, if you're fishing a Florida lake where if you're fishing a Florida lake where there's shiners and stuff, dude, you better be throwing gold, because you ain't going to catch anything if you're not throwing gold. Gold is really hot. But what's crazy is, like you said, like not a lot of people throw gold up here. And when you get it in that smaller size and you're around a bunch of boats, it just gives off a different flash. And so that's what I'm trying to get at with all these baits is, what's so cool about lipless compared to the chatterbait is you can have 30 different rods on your deck, and every single one has a different vibration, color, and size to it. You can't do that with the chatterbait. I still love the chatterbait, but that's what gives the lipless such a cool thing, is you can just throw it so different. Ashley, yes. So if the water's clear, so let's say Lake Anna is a great example. You want to go with a translucent, and I think Lucky Craft, the LV500, has a great color. I'll link that one in the episode description for tomorrow too. But Ashley, if you had to pick one, I would go with this gold chrome color here. That one's really good right there. That one and the sexy shad, those two there. And if you can tell, when I shimmy it like that, it almost has a translucent flash to it. What's nice about that in that clear water is it looks perfectly like a bait fish. It really does. But there's something about, and kind of getting back to Bass Django's question, between the gold and silver, they reflect light differently in the water depending on the color clarity. And so sometimes, like if the water is really clear, I think this has a really good reflection of light. When the water has a little stain to it, for some reason, I think the gold just has a better flash to it, but I could be wrong. Yeah. 100%. Ashley, I hope that answers your question. Water dictates the color of the lure, the more visibility, the more translucent. 100%. And then again, if you want to get big brained Aaron Martin, rest in peace, Bass Dojo, I would suggest, if I'm fishing against you in the tournament, this is the thing I'd be thinking too. Bass wisdom says the water dictates the color of the lure. The more visibility, the more translucent. Yes. However, it depends, because fish are weird and they get conditioned. If everybody's throwing a translucent bait, then you throwing that hotter color will make a difference. Why? Because they're just weird and fish hate us, I think. So I think 100% of the time, if you were going to take a test on like bass, as a species, that's 100% correct, and that's what I would do too. However, if I don't get bit with that, then I'm gonna go to the hot colors, and that's what's so cool about that's what's so cool about lipless and jerkbait fishing is there's no wrong answer to that sense. You can there's hard and fast rules to start with, but what I suggest to everybody when you're fishing jerkbaits or lipless, have a couple of rods and just chuck them. You know, this one doesn't work. Let's try this one. Let's experiment. Let's dial that in. Oh, yeah, how about the Lower Potomac? Yes. So Lower Potomac, it's the same thing. Start with your orange colored ones. Start with the orange color. Start with the orange one. Go to the white colored, and then you're going to work down from there. Go to the sexy shad. Go to the gold chrome, and then you're going to also worry about the sound. And I think this is the one thing I want to make sure people don't lose on this whole thing, Len Baker, is the sound. So I don't know if you guys heard this. I'll kind of go over it again. This right here is right here is a one knocker. You hear that thud noise? I don't know if you guys can hear it. Try my best. Versus the Strike King 2-tap. You hear that thud, thud, thud? That's something I would really suggest. Cotton Cordell. Yeah, Cotton Cordell is an extremely good one too. It really is. I have a bunch of cotton. I have too many baits. I have a sickness. Cotton Cordell right there. That one works too. But yeah, so absolutely. Like the biggest thing is don't just think color, guys. Think sound, think sound, think sound. Yeah, it's so weird. I've caught 3 bass in my life on a clown jerkbait, and they were all. I've caught 3 bass on a clown jerkbait, and they were all at Lake Champlain when I was smallmouth fishing, and then I lost them because a pike came up and ate the line. And again, like guys, I'm going down the rabbit hole because usually like that's kind of how my brain operates. But what I want you to think about is color is important, but it's also the sound of it. Get yourself a couple, one knockers too, and don't be afraid to throw the smaller ones. So, this 1/4 ounce one here, this lighter minnow size colored one. You can also get it in the crayfish color here, which is really awesome. That smaller one. This I do suggest you throw it with spinning gear though, but again, you got to use my special setup for lipless baits. If you're going to throw the smaller one, I suggest. Let's throw this question up here from Travis. Preference in knots. No, Travis. That's a fantastic question. That's not a bad question at all, sir. I think a Palomar knot is all you need. Go with a Palomar knot. Super easy. You're not going to be jolting them as much. If you are going to be using braid, what I would suggest you do is take and put another extra loop or two within the Palomar on the braid just to make sure it cinches tight and it doesn't slip. And guys, let me know in the comment section if you guys have a knot that you guys like to tie specifically for anything, honestly, besides the old Palomar. But no, Travis. Palomar is a fantastic, easy knot. The biggest thing I'd watch out for is if you're using braid, because sometimes braid will slip. I would suggest if you're gonna use a Palomar for braid, and Bass Dojo, let me know what you think about this. Like, leave a little bit of extra tag end on your braid so it doesn't slip on you. Let's see here. The loop knot is fantastic. I actually have a video on my channel that talks about the loop knot is one of the most underappreciated knots on the planet. It's a fantastic knot. Oh my goodness, let me get caught up on this. Bass Dojo. Let's see here. So since you fish a lot of the Potomac, do you mostly go to the shallow areas like Kauai, Mattawa? Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, spoiler warning, 99.9% of all the tournaments on the Potomac River go out of Mattawoman Creek or they go out of Leesavania. As I've told many of my friends, the tidal river, like the Potomac, is one of the easiest places to cash a check, but it's one of the hardest places to win. And as weird as that sounds, Mattawoman Creek gets better as the year goes on because it constantly gets restocked. So not only is Mattawoman Creek a fantastic spawning bay, it is also a place that as more tournaments go out of, more and more fish get dumped there. So it basically restocks itself. If you're going to ask me what my favorite creek is, it really depends on the grass. Aquia is a fantastic creek. The problem I have with Aquia is it's a hell of a drive to get down there. So if I was going to fun fish, I might not go down to Aquia because, let's say you either drive in your boat or your car to get all the way down to that place. But if you had to put a gun to my head, I would say staying around, not Nanjamoine. Guys, help me in the chat. What's the creek down below Aquia? That one's really good too. The one not down by Aquia. I'm an idiot. The one below Mattawoman. What's the one behind Mattawoman? Let's take a look. See here at the map. Hold on, guys. I gotta find this out. Bass Dojo. Maybe you can help me. What is the creek down below Mattawoman? Crap. I don't know why. I've fished there a billion times and I'm now having a brain fart. Is it Nanjamoine? It's not Nanjamoine. It's Mattawoman and Chickamauxin. Good Lord, that was hard. I don't know why that was so freaking hard. I'm sorry, guys. It's Chickamauxin. Chickamauxin Creek. So Chickamauxin, Mattawoman, Chickamauxin, Mattawoman, and then of course, Occoquan. Like if you stay in those three, you can figure them out. You can have a great day. They're there. And honestly, wherever you find a good grass bed, if it's a grass year, if the grass is good, those are the three places I would go and I would start. Let's see. Ashley. Yeah. Loop knot. Absolutely. I need to do another video on that. Do you approach smallmouth differently with these baits at all? Looking to hit Lake Moomaw, South Hudson. So right now, what we're specifically talking about with these baits is grass. That's the big key. So to answer your question, Travis, and let me put this up there on the board, try to get through all these. Do you have an approach smallmouth differently with these baits at all? Looking to hit Lake Moomaw, South Hudson. When you're dealing with these baits around grass, it's the same principle. If you're not dealing with grass and you're dealing with bait, it's a little different. You're going to be going with this chrome, this more shad looking color, because generally smallmouth live in clear water. And what I suggest you do with these baits is you're either going to fish them through bait balls or you're going to work them like a jig on the bottom, just like you would a vibrating jig. A cold water lipless bait where you're just stroking it off the bottom. Yeah, it's been one of those days. But yeah, so smallmouth, you're going to use it like a jig, just like you would do in super cold water, and just bring it up and down off the bottom, like you would do like a silver buddy. Good question, though. Really good question. And they can kill this thing too. Yeah. Never. Yeah. Bass Dojo never cuts the knot, especially with braid. Like if you had to put a gun to my head, I wouldn't do it for either one, but definitely not braid because there is slippage there. Ashley Higgins, my guilty pleasure is my spinnerbait. No, a spinnerbait is a fantastic bait too. It really is. When you go with a spinnerbait compared to a chatterbait and a swim jig, my biggest thing is like you only have so much time to throw everything. So you want to try to pick the best bait or the one that you have the most confidence in. Yeah, it's so funny because like everyone asks like, what's the best place to fish on the river? All the big tournaments, not one dayers, but big tournaments are pretty much one in the same basic places over and over again. And so people that tell you that there are secret spots, there are secret spots in the river, and they might work for a one-day event. But if you're fishing a multi-day event, I just don't think there's one secret spot that's gonna last 4 days. It's all about the same old places. So, if you had to go eh, if you had to go fish and you wanted to finish in the top of the points, if you wanted to get good points, let's say you're fishing a tournament series and you just wanna survive the Potomac, get some good points, possibly get a check, you can basically stay in Chickamauga or Mattawoman the whole day and you'll do well. You will. Psychologically, people hate that because there's so much boats and people get scared. People, generally speaking, anglers hate other anglers and they cannot handle pressure. As soon as an individual gets a boat or a kayak and has the ability to escape anglers, we lack the discipline to handle fishing pressure and we freak out, we get claustrophobic and we can't do it. But if you just take and tell yourself you're not leading Mattawoman Creek, you're not leaving Chickamauga, you will have a successful tournament, bar none. I guarantee it. You'll have head games, but you'll do extremely well. That's a good question, Ashley. So I'm in Northeast Tennessee, lots of smallmouth highland reservoirs. The body of waters we're speaking about. Yeah, so the Potomac River, Ashley, is a tidal river in the DC area, but it has a lot of grass. So what we're talking about is not necessarily just tidal; it's just grass fisheries in general. Fishing a lipless in grass. Hopefully that helps you. Yeah, if you're fishing the Tennessee River system, something like that, where you don't have grass on it, fishing it like a blade bait, where you're stroking it off the bottom to get that reaction strike, is huge. Travis, yes, these videos are coming. I'm sorry I've been falling behind. I don't know if you guys know this, but I am also in school full time getting my MBA. So I have to do school, shoot podcast episodes, edit all the podcast episodes. I have another podcast that I run with my wife. I do that. And then I'm doing this. No complaints. I'm blessed, but more episodes are actually coming. Aquaquan is good too. Yeah, I love Aquaquan. And honestly, guys, it just depends on the grass beds. I mean, it is. Grass beds, if you're fishing grass, if you find a good grass bed, you're going to be fine. Just stay there the whole day. I mean, that gets in the idea of would you rather run tides or not? I don't want to get into that rabbit hole. I'll make somebody mad. Yes, spinnerbaits are weird because I feel like when the chatterbait and the swim bait became a thing, people forgot about the spinnerbait. I remember 4 or 5 years ago on Lake Cumberland when the spinnerbait came back and you saw like everybody in the top 10 using a spinnerbait. I think it really comes down to you have to be at there's a certain conditions I think the spinnerbait kicks ass in. And if you have to have those where you have that muddier water, you have timber, something like that. That's classic, I think, Jimmy Houston type of spinnerbait weather, like general stuff there. The other thing is, do you guys consider an underspin a spinnerbait? I mean, I don't know. You get the flash, you get the movement of a spinnerbait, which is the blade, but then you get the low profile of a swim bait. No, I think one of the first bass I ever caught was actually on a spinnerbait too, Ashley. I love spinnerbaits. Ashley, what type of let us know in the comment section what type of kayak are you running? Oh, I feel you. No, they seldom do. They really don't. And they're catching monster weight down there. They really are. But I think they're on Lake Fork if I'm not mistaken. So, are you shocked that they're catching them well? I mean, that place is freaking absolutely awesome. Let me go back through this comment section first, make sure I haven't like missed anything. Missing through here, making sure I get all these questions. 10-foot Pelican, sit on chop. Yeah, you know, hey, that's still a good kayak though. It really is. You have got to have some fantastic smallmouth waters though, Ashley. That like you have some really cool places that you get to fish. I'm actually the reason I asked too is I'm actually fishing a kayak series. This is the first year I'm fishing a kayak series this year with Northern Virginia Kayak Association, and I have a paddle. I have a Wilderness Radar 135, I think, and I don't have the pedal drive system, which I really need to get. Yeah, yeah, I get that. It's expensive, but honestly, though, comparatively, it's cheaper than a bass boat. We had Nolan Miner on the other day, and he was talking about Nolan Miner fished the Bass Open Northern Series. He fished 3 events, and he's doing kayak fishing now. And he said like the most expensive kayak is cheaper than a regular bass boat. I mean, it's I'm telling you, like even you could spend 10 grand on and have the best kayak possible. I'm not saying you should or you financially can, but that's what's crazy is the most pimped out kayak is still cheaper than most regular tournament bass boats, which is basically a mortgage for a house right now. It's absolutely stupid. I have a huge bass boat and I can't put it in small lakes and ponds that are waiting for a lure. Yeah, like that's the one thing that's getting me really into kayak fishing because I was debating for a while whether to invest more. You know, I still have a big bass boat. I probably will. I'll have a bass boat like that indefinitely because it's just part of my soul. But either go with a aluminum jet boat or a kayak. Kayaking is winning for me because I can still fish tournaments and scratch that itch. And it's the fact that you can throw it in the back of a vehicle and you can go anywhere with it. And there's so many places like Bass Dojo. I don't know if you saw my video series called Hidden Gems, where I specifically talk about places in the DC metro area that you can fish that are untapped. One of those, like a couple of them, are kayak accessible places only, and you can absolutely just slay them. Absolutely slay them. What is the Travis? Travis says? What is the biggest bass you have caught on a lipless bait? The biggest bass that I have caught on a lipless bait was 6.5 pounds. I actually caught him. I don't know if you guys can like see this here, but I actually won that tournament. I think it was like 5, 6 grand I won. I forget. Maybe it was 6. But uh I actually won that tournament with like 22, 23 pounds, and it was a 6 pounder I caught. Ashley, I love that idea. That's really cool. Yeah, that's why. I mean, that's honestly why I like kayak fishing is it does level the playing field. Even though some kayak trails you can like go crazy with it. Bass Dojo, you have the comment of the day. Underspin is just a flashy swim bait. I love that. Yeah, that's what a lot of people think about it too. Oh shoot, man, I got like a bunch more soup. I got a bunch more chats I have. I want to pedal drive so bad. I love the accessibility of a kayak, an angling tube. Ashley, you are a badass. You need to start a YouTube channel, Ashley. I would totally watch that if you had a YouTube channel. Yeah, I think I want to get a pedal drive too. I mean, I want to either upgrade and get the pedal drive system for the wilderness I have, or bite the bullet eventually, you know, go in debt and get a Hobie. But Travis, hopefully I answered your question there, bud. I want a pedal drive as bad as well, but I think I may end up getting a John boat with a 9.9. Yeah, I mean, like Bass Dojo, where are you at? Like, where do you usually fish? Are you fishing like Occoquan Reservoir, are you near DC a little bit more? Do I fish the do I do fish Potomac teams? Not really, I don't. I usually, if I'm fishing tournaments on the Potomac River, they're gonna be BFLs, ABAs, bigger tournaments like that with better cash purses. Or I just fun fish. You know, the problem when you fish Potomac team stuff, and I'll jump in one every now and then. I don't fish a lot of them. I just don't like all the drama. The drama gets just crazy. So I bare bones, tourney, and then co-angler, the BFL volunteer division, and then Bass and Trail. Yeah, Ashley, you need your own YouTube channel. You need to document this. No, never give up. Ashley needs her own channel. We need to do a GoFundMe to get Ashley her own channel. All right, I gotta get through all these chats. Okay, since we are talking about bad fishing and grass, how do you spot the beds in all that cover? There's so much grass sometimes it's difficult to see the bare areas. Yeah, so if you are fishing, so I'm gonna say it depends. If you're fishing the Potomac River, I'm assuming Bass, you're talking about like the Potomac. You're gonna want if you were like getting ready for a tournament and you really want to try to find the beds, what I would suggest you do is you go on the lowest tide possible the day or two before the tournament, and if it's clear and you can kind of start seeing some of the beds. Otherwise, if you're not going to do that, that's where technology. I'm sorry, but that's where technology is. Like if you have 360 like Mega 360 or Panoptics with perspective mode, that will let you see the holes. Or you use a lipless bait, something with treble hooks, and you can actually feel where the grass is different. What would you throw in the Shenandoah this time of year? DK, are you talking about I have one bait? DK, if I had to pick one bait, it would, oh God, one bait, damn it. Yeah, well, you see, Bass Dojo already stole my thunder with that. So I'm going to say a small mega. I don't want one bait. I'm a tackle junkie, damn it. What's the point in having millions of dollars of tackle and an upset wife because I have to hide receipts if you just want me to throw one bait? That's criminal. That's a criminal question. But if it is, it's probably going to be a smaller jerk bait, deep diving jerk bait, different color, name it. Dude, 9-foot pond prowler, that's awesome. You are such a badass. Thank you so much, Daniel. Hey, good to see you. Thank you so much for saying this stuff on the podcast, dude. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Have you gotten to fish anywhere lately, bud? No, 100%. Like the Megabass Spark Shad is absolutely a killer. I don't know if I'd fish it right. Like I would fish it right now, but I don't know if I would just have that on. Like I guess that the question is, if you had to put a gun to my head, what one bait? I don't know if I do Spark Shad or a jerk bait right now. That's the problem. If I could have three, I think two of them you got. All right. What spring bait do you recommend for lakes in Nova? We don't have shad, but rather a lot of bluegill. Oh boy, you are getting into a topic. Daniel, you're getting into my swim bait teas. I'm gonna go grab another box of baits, and I'll be right back. Box number 2. All right, I'm actually running out of room here. All right, Daniel, my man, I got you. Right now, gun to my head, one bait that you're going to be throwing. And this is honestly kind of gets back to what Bass Dojo was saying. Now, again, I will say it depends on the water clarity, Daniel, and what we're talking about. But if I had to pick one, you're going to go with either a Megabass Spark Shad 3.5 or, that Sexy Shad Caltech, and you're going to go with a guppy head. It doesn't have to necessarily be the Dirty Jig brand guppy head, but the reason you want to go with that, and if you watch my other videos, let me see if I can get that there, that thin hook, that thin shank hook like that, Bass's mouths right now are stupid cold and they get hard. And because it's a little bit harder, you either have to really jack them on the hook set or have a needle sticky sharp hook so it sticks them in the mouth. So go with a bait like this, or a smaller chatterbait like this. The reason you go with a smaller chatterbait is trying to match the hatch of like the bluegill, like we talked about, like you were talking about, but also you can stroke that on the bottom and kind of work it like a blade bait too. So those are the two I would pick if I had to fish a pond. Let me hide the comment. There we go. So hopefully that answers if you had to pick two right now. Now, if you're trying to catch the biggest one, that'd be way different. Let me kind of get back to Daniel's question there. Oh, here we go. Is there a certain time, if any, water temperature that you won't throw lipless crankbait? I feel like lipless, square bills, and everything else perform year round. Yeah, absolutely, they perform year round. Vegetation. So I generally like to throw lipless, either a lipless or a blade bait when I'm trying to get a core reaction strike, like when the water's super cold, there's no cover. So I'm just stroking it on the bottom, or grass. So if I can get away with it, Travis, I will throw it year round, especially if I'm just trying to find fish. And again, I can't stress this enough. So if Travis, let's say you're on a boat or a kayak and you have a huge grass mat, a grass area, tie one of these on a spinning reel and bomb cast it out there and just reel it and rip out of the grass, reel and rip. You're going to get bit, and remember those areas, and you can come back through there with a different bait and kind of milk it. Once you find those juice spots in the grass, you can hit it with different ones. You just got to find it. So I hope that helps. Yes, absolutely. And the square bill I definitely use probably more around wood, but that's a really good question, Travis. Great question. Yeah, amen. And Bass Dojo, now Ashley's probably gonna have to teach us actually how to kayak fish, but I've thrown myself 3 times out of the kayak I've had last year because I set the hook too damn hard and I tried to set it standing up. Guess what? A 6'1" man trying to beat him to death. Yeah, I almost drowned. It was a fun experience. So Daniel, I hope I got to answer your question. Yeah, yeah, Ashley, if you start YouTubing, if you start a YouTube channel, hit me up and we can actually collaborate. I'd love to collaborate with you if you're ever up this way. Um, but yeah, absolutely. I got to check out your Instagram too. Have you fished Orange Lake? You can pull double digit fish out of there. Start earlier April. Yes, I have fished it 8 years ago, I think. No, shit. I think it's been 10 years, honestly. I think it's been 10 years since I fished that place. It's been a while. I used to fish that thing when I was a kid and I fished high school derbies. I need to go. Actually, I need to shoot a video there, a Hidden Gems video talking about that place. Good question. Really? 4 or 5? You caught 4 and 5 pounders out of there? That's freaking awesome, dude. but also according to Creek for trout, but skunked as well. Daniel, are you just wanting a bait that you're going to get bit no matter what? Please let me know in the comment section if that's what you mean. If you just want a bait that no matter what, you'll catch anything that swims, because that's different than just bass fishing. I stand up constantly. I built a casting deck that covers my God, you do everything. I need you to fix my boat because I'm incapable of fixing marine problems as they come up. Don't video anymore. Why, Bedger? Why don't you video anymore? Let's see, get some good questions here. Daniel, Upper Potomac, Conococheague Creek. If you come up this way this summer, I'll hook you up with some of the best smallmouth fishing of your lifetime. Oh, wow, that's a really good deal. Ashley, thank you for letting us know. That's awesome. Oh, here we go. My favorite grass bait is a weightless fluke thrown. Oh, yeah. And this is why you're going to end up fishing in the Bassmaster Classic, because, yeah, that's one of the best ones there is. Oh, here we go. Got some more. What are your thoughts on using a spoon? Love it, especially if you're letting me use Panoptics. We fished them a lot at Lake Kiwi at the College National Championship. The second one my brother and I fished. If they're on bait and shad, in like in the middle of nowhere, they're great. If you're fishing more of like a steep bank, I suggest going with a blade bait or a lipless bait and just stroking it. Yeah, like Daniel, if you here, I'm gonna go grab another thing from the back area. Actually got this here. Oh. All right. If you want the #1 bait ever created in the history of mankind, you are stranded on an island and you need to feed yourself or you're going to die a horrible death. And you have to pick one bait to make sure you actually feed yourself so you don't die a horrifically agonizing death. This. It's called Gulp 1 inch. Daniel, if you cannot catch anything on this, burn all of your fishing gear and become a Redskins fan. Or I'm sorry, a Commanders fan. You're gonna get the 1 inch version right there. Okay, the 1 inch. You're gonna put that on a trout magnet. Key tip: super glue. This stuff is very biodegradable and it will just fall off the hook. If there's a thing in there that once it is alive, it will eat that 100%. That is I just need to catch something before I jump off a bridge bait. If you had a jerkbait color you'd throw on the Shenandoah, what would that be? Also, how about diving depth? If I'm fishing a deeper portion, like around Riverton, I'm going to go with a deeper diving bait. Color-wise, can never give you one because I just can't. I would give you two. I don't have jerkbaits in front of me, DK. Sexy shad chrome, color like that. And a bone white. You got to have two. You can't pick one because honestly, fish are weird. If you have to do that game of which one would you pick, give me two colors or something. Because like when you're dealing with jerk baits or lipless baits, changing the color around is so important. And I don't want you to do yourself a disservice. A sexy shad chrome color or a bone white are probably the two I suggest you throw, and just switch between those and you'll be good to go. And if you're fishing around Riverton where that water's deeper, go with that deeper bait because those fish are going to be tucked to the bottom. Fish in the Shenandoah River, they don't usually feed on bait. They do, but a lot of times they're eating crayfish and stuff. So you want to get that bait as low to them as possible. Travis, are you trying to have a 1v1 challenge, you versus Jared versus me? Hell yeah, Travis. Let's make that happen. That would be a lot of fun. I'd video that. Yeah, like try that low tide, the spawn thing. That'll help a lot. Otherwise, you have to get Panoptics or 360 to find the holes. Yeah, flukes are awesome. Hey, Rippin' Lips. Good to see you, bud. We today talked about lipless bait fishing, which again, I'm going to cut this up tonight, and this will be for tomorrow's main video because I have severe ADHD and I got confronted by a homeless person today. So I forgot to do the video, so this is going to be going up tomorrow. It's pretty much about lipless bait fishing. Now we're just doing question and answer and just hanging out because it's Wednesday. Guys, spring's coming. It's time to fish. We're done with being inside. We're done with this shitty weather. Let's just hang. I don't care if you fly fish, you catfish, you musky fish, you bass fish. We're all after a stupid fish, and we can all celebrate and brother and sisterhood that we just like to be in the outdoors and we like to go fishing. Mic drop, amen, right? Bye, bud. Bass Dojo, love it. Hopefully I get to see you again on another chat. We're going to be doing this a lot more. I'm actually going to go shoot a video at the Rappahannock this year at some point. I really want to. You can catch some great snakehead, and I hear that the Rappahannock has some fantastic, absolutely fantastic largemouth fishing. Daniel, I catch fish too. I just been tough this winter. No, I understand. I understand, bud. Listen, hit me up either on Instagram. Yeah, I think you have my number still. We can actually try to go fishing sometime, dude. I think you still have my cell phone number. But honestly, yeah, gulp alive. If you literally have to catch a fish or your family will die because we're in a Saw movie, I would say gulp. It would probably be like the bait where I feel like I could get bit. I fished the Rap above the city for smallmouth. Yeah, like the Rap, for some reason, no one talks about the Rap, and I think that's because it's very good. Ever since I started this YouTube channel, like with hidden gems in the podcast, if people don't talk about it, it means it's probably really good. Yep, I'm about to rooster tail. Yes, DK, you have to understand if you're going to be obsessed with tackle, I don't like, and it's like that question of like, oh, like which one would you pick? It's like we spend $10,000 with a tackle. That's mean to say pick one. Like, what if your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or husband was like pick one of your favorites out of all the things? Like that's wrong. I can't pick just one. Yeah, smallmouth love the cold, and it depends on where you are. I think there's 2 warm water discharges in DC but you need a boat to get to them. Or, spoiler, I did a video on it. Please go check it out and like and comment on it on the channel, Fishing the DMV. Wilkinson Lake in Winchester, Virginia. It doesn't freeze in the wintertime. I don't think I've ever seen it frozen, and I went to college in Winchester. It doesn't freeze. And you can catch bass there in like negative 50-degree temperatures if that's a real temperature. And while I have everybody here, do you guys want me to do more live streams? And if so, do you want me to do them on Saturday mornings? You want me to do them in the evenings? Like what works for you guys? Let me know in the comment section what days and times work for you guys for live streams. I could do them in the morning. I could do them in the evening. You got to let me know what works best for you. Yeah, but I love smallmouth. Ripping lips. Did you try using dynamite? My cousin had a great success using a shotgun. He didn't catch anything, but he almost blew a hole in his boat. You could try that. Wife's yelling. Bass Dojo. I don't know if she's a keeper. If she's yelling at you to get away from fishing, talking about fishing. I don't know if she's a keeper or not. Ashley, what is your Instagram handle so we can find you? Rappahannock bass fishing is amazing most of the time. Hit it one day a couple years back, early summer morning with top water. Got hit every damn cast. Dude, that sounds like fun. DK, do you kayak fish? Do you bank fish? boat, fish. What's your poison? First smallie spring last year was 18.5 inches, 2.5 inches, 95. Oh, dude, that is a freaking stud. That's a really nice one. Ripping lips. You want Tuesday evenings? Okay, we got one that says Tuesday evenings. I should do this. Okay, we got one for Tuesday evenings. Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know that river, Holston River. I bet. Ashley, what is the biggest bass you've caught? What's your personal best smallmouth? I'd love to know. All right, you totally down for more live streams? Okay, cool. I'm the real winner. Yeah, you're the winner. Let me talk to Jared because I think what we're gonna do next live stream is we're gonna have a couple of giveaways. We were kind of waiting to do the giveaways once we had our online shop available because I have an issue of giving away stuff like candy. And then for if you guys want to follow, just before I lose everyone, go to Fishing the DMV. That's my Instagram handle. Try that. See if you can find me there. Let me get that up there. I'm actually I got a message real quick because that's actually the wife. Yeah, I think I followed the right person on Instagram. I either did or I just followed a completely random person. Or I asked for a friend request from a completely random person. So I think I'm following Ashley. I don't know. That one's good there. Yeah, I mean, like with Chesden, because of the shad, that's one thing where I think Panoptics really helps when these fish are in this shitty mood. Like, I'm sorry, technology is what it is, whether you hate it or love it. If you have it, it does help. Mostly bank and boating, no kayaking quite yet. Yeah, I mean, like boating, like bank, that's the problem too. So for everyone who lives in the DC area, I don't know if you follow my YouTube channel, Fishing the DMV, but I want to highlight good places to fish. And I don't care if it's bank or the boat or the kayak. Let me know there's some places that I should shoot a video just to kind of highlight. I'm also always trying to explore. My biggest thing is I don't want private places. I want it to be places that people can actually go to without, getting arrested or shot. Yeah, Ashley, I think I gave you a follow. Or I just followed some random person. I don't know. I think I did. It might be easier if you follow like me at Fishing the DMV. Let's see. And winner, a 4-pound spot. Oh my God, that's amazing. I've never caught a spot that big before in my life. And a 7.3 smallmouth, Jesus, that would pull you around in a kayak. Was this all from the same fishery? I bet it was. Down in Tennessee, man, you can catch everything from anywhere. And let's see. Anytime through the week would be better than the weekends. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm probably going to do it during the week. I think we're going to do live streams. I have a live stream this Saturday morning I'm going to try to do. And then I'm going to try to find time to do it during the week. I want to do Tuesday nights, but I have class until 9. So if I do it during the week on a Tuesday, it would be late as shit. It means like we would be starting the live stream at 9:30, which is fine for me because I don't sleep. If you guys want it, otherwise we'll try to find another night. But once school is over with, I think I'm going to do a weekly live stream, maybe longer, where we just hang and talk fishing. And maybe we'll call it like Tuesday night jackpot or Wednesday night jackpot. Something like that fun, just to kind of just talk and hang as a community. Dude, ripping lips. Yeah, I'm completely down with that. I love wade fishing. Not right now, when it's -6, but yeah, I'd be completely down with that. I really want to start fishing the Rappahannock some more. DK, have you tried fishing Sherando Park Pond? Caught some decent fish in there. Highly pressured though. Sherando Park Pond. DK, send me a link to that on Instagram or Facebook, or get it to Jared and let me know. I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm more of a visual guy than names. I forget my mom sometimes because I forget her name, like, but I won't forget her face. So send me a link to that so I can actually see it, and that might be able to help. Ashley, hold on, let me confirm. Yes, Ashley, I got it correct. Bingo, bingo. Yep, gave you a follow back. Cool. Yep, I didn't just randomly. I made sure I actually followed the right person now. Sweet. Thank you. Thank you. No, Ashley, you totally need to get your own YouTube channel and you need to become a professional angler. Let's see. Anytime during the week, that's what we're going to do. Hopefully, we get through all these. But yeah, no, I got to try Sherando Park. That's definitely. Yeah, ripping lips. Like, I also want to get some people on the podcast. I don't know if you know about that, but I run Fishing the DMV YouTube page. We're a podcast, but also just basically we're running all the media and all coverage of everywhere that has to do with Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, DC, any type of fishing, all type of fishing. Blah, blah, blah. I know you don't care about that, but I want to get somebody on the podcast to talk about your area and all the fishing opportunity available. And once it becomes closer to summertime, I also want to start talking about saltwater fishing too. And that's going to get me jazzed because I want to take the kayak out there. Nope. Smallies from the creek. Largely from the bank. Damn. Bank fishing that sucker. That is a big one too to catch off the bank. That is freaking awesome. All right, we got 15 more minutes here. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you want to be on the show, reach out to Jared. Hold on, let me find his email here because he would actually love this. I bet Travis would love it too. Let me get Jared's email up here, and you can actually send him something. But there's an email you got to just because we have to go through the professionalism of it all to get on this show. But yeah, it's called Fishing the DMV. You can also go to the YouTube channel too. All right, here we go. You can email that right there, and that should hopefully get you in contact so we can actually set up the podcast episode. We release podcast episodes every Tuesday. I try to do fishing videos Thursday, and once my schedule allows it, I'm going to try to release 2 videos regarding fishing, whether it's a fishing adventure or just how-to videos twice a week, plus the podcast, plus the live stream. So we're working on all of it. But that's a freaking big one. Ashley, that's freaking awesome. Nope, Somali. Okay, cool. No, absolutely. What is everyone, and before I, one more thing before we kind of like wrap it up for tonight. So it sounds like Tuesday nights we'll do this. Make sure you like and subscribe to my Instagram account and my YouTube page, Fishing the DMV. If you do that, I will keep you guys up to date on my live streams when we're going to do them and kind of get you guys all on the same page because I really want to try to grow this community. I want to be able to help each other out, make sure we all strive for our goals. And that's the one thing I want everyone to put in the comment. What is everybody's goal this year when it comes to fishing? Just one goal. It can be keep it simple so that way we can all do it together. But what is one goal you have for this year as an angler? Is it a new PB? Is it finishing higher in a tournament? Is it catching a different species? Let me know in the comment section below, everyone, what your one goal is this year. And let's try to help everyone out in this community to hit that goal. Mine this year, believe it or not, is I want to be able to catch a redfish from a kayak. I have never caught a redfish from a kayak in Virginia waters. I have down in the Carolinas, but never one from Virginia waters. So I really want to catch one from a kayak. The other thing I really want to do is try this year to catch a 4-pound smallmouth from either the Shenandoah or Upper Potomac, a 4-pound smallmouth. I have my biggest smallmouth ever right now is like no. Yeah, my biggest smallmouth ever was like 5 pounds, but it was up in Vermont. So win a tourney. Amen. That's a lofty goal, sir. That's a lofty goal to win a tourney. But hey, maybe we can help you out. I'll try to help you the best way I can to help you win a tourney. I like it. Have high goals. Honestly, if you need help winning a tourney, you should talk to Ashley. Ashley freaking is probably going to take all of our money. Yeah, like the river is really low right now, but the fishing is still extremely good on it. Like the fishing on the river is fantastic, especially for like smallmouth. And honestly, like, and there's a good walleye population. There's a good muskie population there. The Potomac is looking really good. So we got to win it. So Rippin' Lips, we got you. You want to win a tournament? Okay, we got to help you out there win that tournament. His biggest smallmouth was 7.2 in Maine. Do we even count that as a smallmouth though? Like those northern strains? I mean, come on. Should I even count my smallmouth? No, it counts. It counts. That's a freaking awesome one. Ashley. You see, like Ashley's won so much money in so many tournaments where she's at. She's beyond us when just win a tournament. Now she wants to win a tournament with only smallmouth. Or she wants to win a tournament with only spots. See, she's just above us. So honestly, Rippin' Lips, you should probably ask her. She can help you with that. But yeah, if you're gonna win with just smallmouth, yeah, that's definitely doable in Tennessee. But then Daniel, definitely. I know you're probably gone from the chat, but yeah, hit me up, Daniel, and we'll go fishing sometime. Daniel used to go to school with me at Shenandoah University in Winchester, Virginia. Ashley, what is your home like that this is feasible? I feel like you're a Canadian. The only place that I think you can catch 6 and 7 pound smallmouth like that has to be Canada. Are you actually from Tennessee? Daniel is still here. All right, Daniel. Well, yeah, hit me up because we need to go fishing sometime if you're in the area. Where are you still in the Northern Virginia area? I don't know if I missed your chat about that, or are you down in Norfolk? Because if you are, I'll make a trip down there too. That works. Okay, cool. Norfolk area. Sweet. Yeah, I just have to make a trip down there sometime. Oh, Tyson's Corner. Why the hell did I think Norfolk? Jesus God, that's what happens when you. I was like up early this morning editing videos. All right, yeah, yeah. Hit me. I'll hit you up on Facebook, and we'll get some fishing going. Oh, we got a new message. Yeah, Ripping Lips. We gotta do some synergy sometime. If that email doesn't work, let me know. You can PM me on Facebook or Instagram if that doesn't work too. I just get flooded with so many messages. I have to like organize it and stuff. But yeah, I definitely want to collaborate with you in the future. She's not allowed to fish Pickwick anymore because she caught too many fish. You bank fish, you fish the middle, you get a boat, you fish the bank. Isn't that some weird innuendo though? Now, the real change, you fish the bank, fish parallel to the bank. If you're in a boat, fish out deep if you can. That's the big thing. Barker, what is a goal that you have this year that you want to do? Let me know a goal that you have. Oh crap! I'm sorry, bud. I'm sorry I didn't respond to it. I don't. I will check the comment that you put on the video too. I must have missed that. I'm sorry about that, Daniel. I don't, but I would love to put him on the yeah, I'd love to have him on the podcast. Murray's Tackle Shop. Yeah, let me write that down right now. Screenshot that and have that person on there too. Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah, I'll try to have that person on as well. Yeah, I mean, that's just so funny. It's like we are the first podcast that specifically deals with the DMV area. And for people that don't know, fishing the DMV does not just stand for where you get your car done. The DMV stands for the area that surrounds Washington, D.C. And I don't know if you can see it in the back there, but the channel covers all the fishing around Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and I'm forgetting a state because my brain's Pennsylvania. So all those states. Since we're the one of the transient people on the planet, we commute so freaking much. It's really not that big a deal. Like an example is Ashley. I don't know about where you're fishing, Tennessee. There are so many lakes so close by to you that if you fish a tournament series, I'm assuming you don't necessarily have to travel too far for a bunch of tournaments. And Delaware. Yep, Ripping Lips. Yep, Delaware. Yep, that was the other state. Thank you. You don't have to travel very far if you're like in Alabama or Tennessee to fish a tournament. If you're fishing a Virginia tournament circuit, it literally is insane where you have to drive. You have to drive to Smith Mountain Lake, the Potomac River, the upper Potomac near Baltimore, down to Lake Kerr on the North Carolina border. That's our tournament trail. And that's a local trail. It's stupid. So, and that's why I kind of wanted to fish like this whole area, but not just bass fishing too, which is the thing. Like I also want to get some catfish people on, all that stuff. But yeah, thank you, Daniel. Yeah, Ripping Lips, and I'm going to subscribe to your channel too. We get that going. Yeah, but Delaware as well. Okay, to have a good year fishing. Come on, bud. Give me some more. Do you have a PR you want to break? What's your PR? Lynn Baker, what is your PR this year that you would love to break? Tell me tell me below what's the biggest fish, because hopefully Ripping Lips, Ashley, Daniel has caught some biggest ones. I think Daniel's biggest fish, to my knowledge, I think is like 10 pounds he caught. He caught it barehanded too. It was amazing. I was there, I think, when that happened. Oh, Raystown. Oh, awesome. Raystown is weird. It's a neat lake. It really is. Like Raystown is really cool. I don't know why. It's just such a unique place because I think what's so cool about Raystown is it's literally in the middle of nowhere. Comparatively, let's say like to a Lake Anna, where it's like a trillion houses, and then Raystown, it's like if you have to go to the hospital, you're probably going to die if you get in trouble at Raystown because there's nothing around. It's just really cool. But yeah, good to know. So you fish a lot of tournaments on the way, but yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah. Hopefully you catch a new PR this year, dude. Hopefully we can help with that and encourage you and stuff. Yeah, we definitely need to get more local channel makers on the channel too. I'm gonna screenshot Ripping Lips. I'm gonna screenshot that. And also, yeah, send me a DM. Send me a DM fishing the DMV. Oh, 5-pounder. So your goal this year, bud, is to catch this. Your goal this year is to catch a 5-pounder on the Potomac, dude. You're gonna catch that easily. That's no problem at all. Potomac River, easy, easy. Daniel, we're gonna fish sometime this year. I promise. Send me a DM. I'll send you a DM either way. God bless, sir. Have a great one. Tight lines. Keep catching catfish barehanded. That was awesome. I enjoyed that. I hate Lake Anna. I hate Lake Anna. Dude, why do you hate Lake Anna? Lake Anna is awesome. We only have like 2 lakes, 2 big lakes in the state of Virginia. Don't knock Lake Anna. And honestly, if you think about it, Smith Mountain Lake and Lake Anna are the only big bodies of water that don't border any other state. I mean, Kerr, Gadsden, Roanoke Rapids. I mean, Potomac River. All that is like borders another state. The only true big lakes we have, I believe, are Lake Anna and Smith. So like you got to take care of what we got. We don't have a lot. Ashley, I have 4 local lakes, but Cherokee, Douglas, Watts Bar, Dan Hall. Oh my God, I'm so jealous of your life. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like 4.5 hours, like in 1.5 hours, I can speak English. Look at how far you can go. That's insane. We can't do that in Virginia. We can't in the DMV area, you really can't do that. We don't have our water that's considered local water is a farther drive. So that's why this channel has to expand over all of it. But yeah, if you ever get your YouTube channel up, I'd love to collaborate with you too. Hey, sometimes the best bass you catch is one that you have to catch before the cops come. Don't hold me to it. Peace. Too many skinny ears. Absolutely. Yep, I agree with you. No, 100% agree with you guys. But no, I think that helps. But yeah, let me know in the comments section below what you want other topics about. We're going to be doing another live stream Saturday morning at 9 a.m. I know not everybody can make it. That's okay. I will be trying to do another live stream next week. Please, 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 please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and also Instagram and my Facebook page at Fishing the DMV. If you definitely, if you like the Facebook page, you can message me, you can reach out to me, and we can kind of figure out what a schedule is for the live streams. Sorry, my brain's starting to go here. But yeah, we're going to start doing these live streams pretty consistently because I think this is a great way to kind of like create our own community and we can actually help each other out and just talk about fishing. And hopefully we can start live streaming some of the Bassmasters or the replays without getting in trouble. That's kind of my hope. Anyway. Yep. That's why you stick to it. Jet skiing is bad, but what are you going to do? Yeah, I mean that's the problem is bass fishing, Ashley, is becoming basically a rich person sport where if you don't have $1 billion, you can't do it, and it sucks. Saturday morning if it's crappy and cold, which is honestly right now for the most part. I think we're gonna switch Saturday mornings once the weather starts getting really good here. Thank you. Thank you for sending me the address. I'll take a look-see at it. Let's see. How about Lake Frederick? I will be fishing Lake Frederick this year once I get my boat back. Because of what's going on in China, the supply chains are really shite. So I don't have the ability to get my boat fixed. But once my boat fixed, I'm going to shoot a bunch of videos on Lake Frederick because people say you can't catch stuff at Lake Frederick, but I believe you can. And I will show people that you can, especially in the springtime. It's amazing in the springtime. But yeah, I will be shooting a video on Lake Frederick, and I'll also be getting somebody on the podcast, multiple people on the podcast to talk about fishing Lake Frederick. Of course, we're never going to forget Mr. Lake Frederick. For some people, that's the only place they've ever fished is Lake Frederick. And then I got, so any other questions before I log off for the night, my good peoples? But this was fun. We're going to be doing this a lot more. I really enjoy this form of content. Somebody sent me something and it's not coming through on the phone. All right, so actually we got one more thing we get to do here. Hold on one second, guys. Stevens City. You know what? I'm going to show you guys this. This is a place that I'm going to be fishing this year. But Lake Sherando. Yes, I've been there. I've not fished there. This sounds stupid, but my wife, we were driving back from a winery and we had to stop somewhere so the dog could take a piss, and we dropped by in there at Lake Sherando. But so yeah, I definitely got to fish Lake Sherando at some point. That looks cool. Thank you so much for DMing me that. That's awesome. Ripping lips. Love you. See ya. That's so cool that you have a 9 foot. Yeah, no, I wish you guys all the best of luck with that. No, amen. Ashley, amen to that. Yeah, let that speak for him. Like, and it's sad though. I think that's why kayak fishing honestly is taking off, because it cuts away that rich man aspect. And I'm sorry, guys, I come from, so a lot of my family are into riding horses, equine, and that's considered a rich person sport. And I have friends that golf, and they consider that a rich person sport. But guess what? Bass fishing, that is the richest man sport, because no other sport do you compete with where you have to use $100,000 boat. And I think maybe that's the aesthetics of it. It has to be that way. But yeah, I'm gonna say it the way it is. It's a rich person's sport. It is. Now I'm gonna show you this lake real quick if I can, and then I have to log off and I have to get ready for my other podcast that we're doing tonight. So if I can figure out how the hell to share this with myself. Here we go. All right. I think I just shared it with myself. So what I'm gonna actually do is share the screen. Share the screen there. Let's see. How do I share a screen on this? Okay, so this is Lake Sherando. And honestly, if you guys want to know how you get really good at finding good places to fish, tell you what, I need a rich husband to actually buy me some fishing tackle, or wife. I don't care. Tackle's tackle. This is Lake Sherando. Ooh, this looks kind of nice, guys. So DK just sent me this address, by the way. So this is Lake Sherando. This is in Stevens City, Virginia. Lake Sherando. This looks like a cool place. DK, can you? Oh, I don't think this is the same place. No, I'm sorry, DK. Like I think I was thinking of something else. Hold on. Where the hell are we? Oh, that's Stevens City. Where the hell was I talking? Oh, I was talking like Lake Shenandoah. I'm sorry, DK. I was thinking Lake Shenandoah. That's my bad. So this right here is like Frederick, and then Sherando. Okay, so Sherando is just above that. Okay. Interesting. I didn't know this was a place. DK, is this public water? If you're still here, DK, let me know if this is public water. So this is like Sherando in Stevens City. I don't know where the hell you get to it. Wait, is it public, or am I going to get shot if I go there? Because if I die, I feel like maybe one person at least would be upset. It's public? Okay, good. Thank you. I have to ask that. I had one friend send me to a place as a gag. It was a pond that was private, and they said, "No, it's totally fine." Until the siren showed up, and I pissed myself. I would think I was like 17 at the time, so I always got to ask that question. But yeah, so honestly, guys, I guess this will be a cool little trick if you guys want to know that. So Google Maps works great. Honestly, any map though, put it into this folder here, and this can really kind of show you where you should start fishing. Um, I mean, there's a billion other places you can kind of get this information, but quick recap. Shocking. This is called the dam, deeper there. Um, in the wintertime, you're usually going to get your bluff banks, your steeper things. You're going to get riprap, gravel, and stuff of that ilk. If you had a boat or a kayak, or I guess if you could bank fish and wind sprint it, but you're going to start down here in this lower end. But right now, since we're getting warmer and warmer weather, you're going to want to start picking apart. And let me know in the comment section below, like, do you guys want to fish? Do you prefer fishing the dam or up in the shallower early area part? Let me know. Personally, this time of year, as it's starting to get warmer and warmer out, I would suggest starting up at the upper portion of the lake and working down. If they're not up here yet, go all the way down to the dam area and fish there. I just go to those two extremes. Pick those out first. If cardio or a boat is not an issue, either start at the dam, fish the dam, and then blast all the way into the back of the creek, or fish the back of the creek and then go to the dam. If you had to pick one of the two. Now, gun to my head, if I had to pick one place to fish to begin with, it's probably the dam. Riprap always holds fish. It might not hold the winning fish, it might not hold the biggest one, but it will hold a fish. Oh, this is some good intel. We got too good intel. Hold on. DK is actually telling us about this fishery that we're figuring out how to break down. Highly pressured, but plenty of big bass in there. Small creek fed lake, lots of grass, some rock, too much above water structure. Yeah, Ashley says shallow first. Yeah, I agree with that too. Yeah, big fish like that, grass. No, there's tons of. You can catch them. You can catch them easily. I probably could catch them there easily. I'll shoot a video there, DK. If I'm allowed to walk it and stuff, I'll figure out a way to get there. But I can catch them too. Ooh, we got it split. Ashley says fish shallow. And Rippin' Lips says fish the riprap. I like honestly, so I'm gonna fish shallow on the riprap too. It just depends. Like that is such, and this is the fun thing about fishing is the mental game. That's what I love about it so much. Like you could, okay, I'm gonna say I'm in a boat. If I'm in a boat, I'm gonna fish the dam early in the morning. I'm gonna fish the riprap early in the morning, and then I'm gonna follow what Ashley says, and then I'm gonna go shallow in the backs of creeks. Yeah, so that personally is kind of my thought. I'm gonna start at the dam in the morning. I'm gonna fish the rocks before the sun gets up, and then once the sun gets up, I'm gonna wind sprint because I'm in decent shape all the way over here. I'm gonna fish the back of this pocket. I'm gonna also borrow DK's vehicle, and he's gonna shuttle me around, so I can do this thing willy nilly. But yeah, I'll fish a video there too. And you know what? This will be fun to do too. If you guys want to do a lake breakdown of a specific body of water, text me the lake and we can actually do a lake breakdown in the future. I think that'd be kind of really cool just to kind of like help people out and figuring out where to fish on some of these bodies of water, especially, if you don't have the opportunity to like fish there a lot. But, using maps like this are sometimes even better than actually using a topographical map because you can actually see the different types of bank depth. Like honestly, looking at this bank here, I'll let my screen refresh. You look at this bank here, it looks pretty steep. All this looks pretty steep. I could be wrong, but it looks steep to me, which means this is going to be a deeper bank edge right in here. Look at Hunting Reservoir. Hunting Reservoir in Spotsylvania country, great cover next to the dam. Rippin' Lips, we're going to look at that if we have some time. I do have a time limit. I have to be done by 8 o'clock because I have to get geared up to start my next podcast. So sadly, I do have a cutoff in about 10 minutes. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like Google Earth and stuff like that. That is really awesome. Hunting Creek Reservoir, Spotsylvania. Yeah, I know. I got like 3 minutes. I'm going to be a little late to that. That's fine. It's my podcast. I can start the other podcast whenever I want to. What was my brain thought? Yeah, Rip and Lip. Send a link in the send a link to Hunting Reservoir. That way I can find it a lot faster. That way we can look at that real quick. And then DK, yeah, you can park either dam stuff. Yeah, thank you so much for bringing up this place. I'm definitely going to shoot a video there. I'm gonna scout it out, and I'll probably do a hidden gems. So if you guys didn't know, on the Fishing the DMV channel, not only do we do podcasts, I do how-to videos, fishing stuff. I also do this thing called Hidden Gem series where I find places and I try to highlight the fishery. It's not about me trying to stick as many as possible. It's just me exploring new places. And I put in the episode description everything I use and also how to get there. So GPS coordinates, the boat ramp, everything. Nothing's private. Yeah, how about that? Ashley will have to be in her boat. And Marty, Rip and Lips, you two get a boat and I get to be on the bank and we'll do a versus series. And we'll see your trolling motor versus my cardio. Who wins? I'll be dead at the end needing oxygen. As I'm like just gasping for air. No, actually, DK has a car. He's going to drive me around. He'll drive me around. He's not allowed to fish. He has to drive me around while Ashley and Rip and Lips get a boat. And we'll see who wins the battle of the ages on a lake while everyone else in this stupid little lake is like, what the hell are they doing? We got time. Yep, I know. I have to be going here. Let's hold on. Let me look up Spotsylvania real quick. Though we might be running out of time here. Let's see. Hunting Reservoir. Let me find that real quick. Hunting Reservoir. It's pretty big. Really? How big is it? Like big enough to see from satellite? Let's take a look-see. Dam caps like Hunting Reservoir. All right, we're going to go find Hunting Reservoir real quick before we end this thing. Sorry if this gives you epilepsy. I think it's this one. No, it's this one. Rip and Lips. Is it this? Is it? This is it right here. Oh my God, this is nice. Holy crap. Holy crap. How have I not heard of this place before? Look at this. Look at all the fingers. Is this trolling motor only? How have I not heard of this thing? Yeah, thanks, DK. Also, yeah, I think I just friend requested you, DK, on Instagram. But yeah, hit me at sometime. We should go fishing. Thanks, I really appreciate that. That I have that place in the pocket, Sherando. Yeah, trolling motor only. That's interesting. This place looks really cool. This place looks insanely big. I probably can't run across the whole place. But yeah. So what we'll do is we'll do a lake breakdown of Rip and Lips, and we're gonna do a lake breakdown. Ashley, Rip and Lips, we're gonna do a lake breakdown next time of Hunting Reservoir, since I have to get set up for my next podcast for my other YouTube channel. But yeah, this place looks really cool. No, absolutely, Rip and Lips. We're gonna come on down there and do that sometime because this place looks really cool. And as you can tell, I don't know if you guys can tell from this, but it kind of looks like that this and Rip and Lips. Let me know if this is correct or not. So, and you can using a topography map, you can usually tell this. Is it generally flat around here? Is all this land flat around the lake, or is it very mountainous? Because looking at this, you can kind of tell like about the terrain, and that's kind of important because it kind of tells you about the strike and dip, which is geography terms for the land, and kind of how the water flows out of there. So if you look at this compared to like a Smith Mountain Lake, you don't have the higher mountain ranges, and you can actually on some of these maps. Let me get Google Earth about 90 at the deepest. So let me get Google Earth up real quick, and then yeah, I'm gonna have to put a hard stop on this. This is a fun feature, guys. If you didn't know about this, Google Earth, you can actually fiddle around with it and get it to where it'll show you topography pretty. And what I mean by topography is like the bank, if the banks are steep or not. So this is the Earth. If you guys didn't know, for you flat earthers, it is round. There it is. Sorry about that. It took me a second to grab this thing. Boom, map style. Explore, perfect. Boom, 3D. Boom. So now that you got it like that, zoom in as much as you can. And now what this map will give you at this angle is it's going to give you a little bit more of that topography. And you can go 2D if you want, which is straight up and down, but I actually like to go with the 3D because honestly, it does help a little bit. Boom. So now you can tell. And what I do, start at the dam, work your way up. And this will help you actually tell the strike and dip. So right here is a perfect example. So if you look right here, there's a higher mountain range right here. So Little Huntington Creek, as you can tell, it's going to have a deeper drop off, especially on this side here where the creek channel sways in. Yeah, pretty steep banks you see. And this is like I'm not even here, like, and I can already like tell like if I want to fish, I'm probably going to go to Little Huntington Creek because it's just the depth. And I don't even have a chart, a Navionics chip or anything like this. It's just knowing how to use Google Earth. And there's some different settings. And if you guys want me, I could do a Google Earth clinic sometime in the live stream if you want me to do that. But switching to 3D is the first step you go. I'm not going to go through the whole tips and tricks for Google Earth right now because I do have a hard stop that I have to do. But go to 3D, start at the dam. The reason I want you to start at the dam is you can understand a little bit better the topography if you start at the dam, because the dam, guess what, is steep, right? So start at the dam in the 3D version and your eyes will kind of get used to it and then start scrolling up the lake. And that's how I could tell, like looking at Little Huntington, like, oh crap, that's a lot steeper than compared to the other banks. And then work on angling and moving around. And you can toggle here and things of that ilk. And then, fishing this bridge, this column, see them right here. That would be a really good hot spot that I would definitely go to. Here looks a little flatter. And then this bank here, if there was blueback herring, I would say this place would be fantastic in the summertime, right down here. And then right here, so you see how when you're in 3D, this has this big bulge right here. So it tells me that this bank right here is probably super steep, both of these sides here. So this would be a good pre-spawn spot, this pattern right here. And I'll flip up to 2D just so you can see what I'm talking about. So this place right here, this place right here. Yeah, Ashley, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. Let's make that the next live session, since I do have to get some I keep telling myself I actually have to go. How about our next live session? Let's do that. I'm thinking, if it works for all of you, how about this Saturday I have a live stream at 9 a.m. We will start with Google Maps. I'll purposely start with Google Maps, how to use Google Maps, all the different little tips and tricks I think you can do with it. Because I could honestly, if you know how to use Google Maps, you can learn where to go and fish, and you don't even need one that shows you the depth. You can just understand the topography of the land. Especially like, I mean, you can see like right here, this is still deep right into here. And so this right here is a perfect spawning pocket. If I could, I have other software I could use. You got it right at the dam. You got an 8-pounder. But Ashley, yeah, great question. Let's do that. So if it works for everybody else this Saturday, I have a live stream at 9 a.m. I'll just start with it. I'll start with doing the top of map discussion. 8-pounder right there at the dam. Yeah. Like honestly, right here, I'll flip back to this. I'll save the other tips and tricks for the other thing. But if you look at this right here, this is a big bulbous point. I would put a marker from here straight across, just like that. And I would fish. I would start in the very back here and work my way back, start in the very back here and work my way back. Generally speaking, yeah, you see, total spawning bait. Yep. And if you don't know if you guys see this in the chat though, Ripping Lips is like, yep, right there. I caught an 8-pounder. So I just found with Google Earth one of Ripping Lips' good spots, not all of his best spots, but a decent spot to start. Let's just say that, a decent spot, just by using Google Earth and learning how to use it. And again, I have a couple other tips and tricks I can really show you with this, but yeah, that right there. So anyway, guys, that was it. That's the live stream. I really hope you guys like this. Like and subscribe to my Facebook and YouTube channel. Saturday at 9 a.m., I'm going to be going through how to use Google Maps along with some other stuff. Yes, Ashley, I am 10 minutes late. I have to set up my other studio so I can get ready for my other podcast. And so I'm probably also going to try to eat some food before I get the other thing set up. So anyway, guys, sounds good. This is going to end this, and I will see you guys on the live stream, 9 a.m. on Saturday. Thanks.